of the police. Welcome to the regular meeting of the Police Advisory and Accountability Committee, meeting on Wednesday, January 21st, 2026. I will request the Assistant City Manager, Robinson Pinyon, to please call the roll.
All right, good evening, everyone. Member Alm.
Present.
Member Kamina.
Present.
Member Nguyen.
Present.
Member Rodas.
Present.
Member Tokalahi.
Present.
Vice Chair Ruiz.
Present.
Chair Davidi.
Present.
Alternate Member Locks. And Alternate Member Valdez.
Present.
Thank you.
Okay, I now invite Ms. Robinson Pinyon to address the interpretation and public comments for the meeting.
Thank you, Chair Davidi. Before we begin, we would like to announce that the meeting will include Spanish language simultaneous and consecutive interpretation provided by qualified interpreters on the Spanish channel. If watching on Zoom, you can join the Spanish channel by clicking on the interpretation icon in the Zoom toolbar. It looks like a globe. If you're attending in person and don't have access to to the Zoom meeting from your mobile device, please come see me or Ms. Komoda and we will get you set up with a device so you can listen to the meeting in Spanish. As a reminder, we ask everyone participating tonight to speak slowly to allow our interpreter to effectively express your comments.
Antes de comenzar, les informamos que la reunión de esta noche contará con interpretación simultánea y consecutiva en español, proporcionada por intérpretes cualificados en el canal español. Si nos siguen por Zoom, pueden unirse al canal español haciendo clic en el icono de interpretación en la barra de herramientas de Zoom. Parece como un globo terráqueo. Si asisten en persona y no tienen acceso a la reunión de Zoom desde su dispositivo móvil, por favor abórdenme a mí o a la señora Komoda y les proporcionaremos un dispositivo para que puedan escuchar la reunión en español. Como recordatorio, les pedimos a todos los participantes que hablen despacio para que nuestros intérpretes puedan expresar sus comentarios eficazmente.
Thank you. This meeting is being recorded and members of the public can watch online or listen by phone by calling 669-444-9171 using the meeting ID 822-1885-1893. There will be an opportunity for public comment for those participating in person. Each person will have 2 minutes to provide their comments. We invite each of you to introduce yourselves by name before presenting your comments. We are offering closed captioning for this evening's meeting on Zoom. Select the live transcript button on Zoom to enable this feature.
Okay, great. I now like to welcome public comments on any matter that's not listed on the agenda. Okay, I don't see any. Oh, all right.
I just brushed through that as well. All right, Tara Evans, I want to address two interconnected concerns that go to the heart of what it means to have a truly independent civilian oversight committee. First, it is deeply problematic that city staff, rather than this committee, selected from your work plan discussion without the whiteboard for you to see for yourselves and prioritize your 2026 work plan as you did the year before. There was also an inaccurate weighted system that was utilized. Did you review the recording of this meeting and check that work? The process used by the city staff was opaque, and it undermines the very concept of what independence means. Who's overseeing whom if the committee's work plan is being shaped by those within the same system it's meant to hold accountable? This lack of independence becomes even more dangerous when paired with the committee's continued use of bias and dehumanizing language. In official discussions, terms like prostitution and homeless, these are not neutral words. They carry centuries of stigma, classicism, and they evoke bias, disgust, and criminality, especially when used in public discourse. The appropriate terms are people engaged in survival sex work, survivors of human trafficking, and unhoused individuals, outdoor neighbors, and the outdoor community. These choices in language are not just semantics. They signal whether we see people as problems to remove or as human beings experiencing systemic harm. The real danger is when these frameworks set by staff and embedded in the language of your work plan inform the way this committee approaches complex social issues like homelessness, sex work, and trafficking. The goal of this committee should never be, how do we get this out of our neighborhood, but rather, how are Santa Fe's policing policies contributing to cycles of harm, vulnerability, and criminalization? As well as, how much of SRPD and the city of Santa Fe spend on its budget to support victims in the system on your work plan? According to the National Homelessness Law Center, the criminalization of homelessness, including arrests, citations, and move along orders, increases exposure to sexual violence
Please,
and
wrap up
exploitation,
your comments.
especially among women, people of color, youth, and LGBTQ individuals.
I'm sorry, I need to stop. Your 2 minutes up.
The Urban Institute
I'm
reports
sorry.
data that demonstrates many human trafficking victims were first
Ma'am,
human
I need you
lives
to stop,
being
please.
housed
Respect
or
the rules.
engaging in survival sex work, often before anyone even recognized them as victims. These punitive police interactions
please,
create
can you
conditions
respect
that
our
push
rules
people
here?
deeper into precarity and in many cases directly into the hands of traffickers.
Any other public comments?
I agree with what the last speaker said. I'm Heidi Merchant, and the end of her comments are, this committee has a responsibility not to protect neighborhoods from discomfort or unsightliness, but to investigate how our systems are causing harm and what can be done to change this. That includes examining and monitoring police conduct policies versus what actually happens, reviewing budgets, ongoing police training, challenging harmful narratives, and setting your own work plan rooted in truth, dignity, professional language, and community accountability. I agree with that. I think the deficit-based language is a real disservice to community members. I think that how we name problems actually informs how we address them. I did want to say, I didn't see you put in the work plan that you had the flexibility to change based on emerging issues in the community. So I'd like to revisit that. And then there was a conversation about how important Zoom was if you were to take these meetings off-site and go into community. But I think what was missing from that conversation is people on Zoom can't participate in these meetings. And so we know that people have transportation issues, people have language access issues, and if they could give public comment on Zoom, like the County Board of Supervisors offers or the Marin County Civilian Oversight Commission offers, that really increases community's ability. I know I'm always running in here after finishing work and driving down here, and I know a lot of you on this committee are doing that too. And so I want you to consider increasing access and accessibility to this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comments?
As the previous speaker stated regarding your work plan, of course, you can make changes if you choose to. If you choose to be bullied and believe you can't, that's your choice. Hopefully not. You can make changes to your work plan if you want to. And you should, because RIPA data is not a part of that. RIPA is a big issue. Pretext stops are big issues with many people, brown and black people. RIPA should definitely be a part of this work plan and should be discussed in full, in detail, and you can be able to weigh in on that. So make some changes and add that. The chair, you can ask for changes. You can ask for things, as you know. I'm sure you've been talking about preaching to you. Let's do that. Regarding RIPA, this is something written by in the IJ by a guy named Ernest Hook in the IJ recently. In the IJ, he sees what I see. He sees. I have been startled to recently discover that what I consider a high proportion of cars on the road in the IJ without front license plates. You guys claim that you will not stop with pretext stops. Cars are driving by the thousands here. So it's my duty to pull data. So as I keep talking about this, it's my job to pull data to see who you're pulling over, how often. Cars, this is a guy that I've never met in my life in San Rafael who wrote that. You see the cars driving around here every day with no front license plate. The fancy cars, white people with fancy bikes and fancy bike racks covering their license plate. Are they pulled over and being pulled over? Probably not. I highly doubt it. Please add RIPA to your work plan. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening, everyone. On the topic of pretext stops, I think there's a lot of misconceptions about why it's so important to get rid of pretext stops. But I want to give you a real life recent example of a pretext stop. My daughter's father drives a 2000 Mustang. It's gold. It's beat up. And he was driving, and there was a cop behind him. And after 2 stop signs, the cop pulled him over. He said that he went through those 2 stop signs, and that from driving behind him, he could see that his windshield was excessively tinted, which it was not. I guarantee you the reason, mind you, he didn't get a ticket. He didn't get any type of citation or anything. But I guarantee you the reason why he was stopped is because the officer thought in his head, if I stopped it, and mind you, it was on New Year's Day. If I stop this individual, I guarantee, just based on what his car looked like, that he thought it was going to smell like weed, or that the driver was going to reek of alcohol or something. And it's these situations where it's so evident that the bias is so strong in our community that these pretext stops lead to racial profiling and just unfair treatment based on bias. And that's all I wanted to bring to you right now. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay. I don't think I see any other public comment. At this point, I will close public comment. Next is the staff liaison reports.
Thank you, Chair Davidi. I do have a lot of items to discuss with you today on the staff report. As promised, I want to keep you all as updated as possible. One thing is the complaints from last year to finish out 2025. We received 27 community complaints, and we had 3 internal complaints. There's a total of 30 cases that were investigated. 18 of those cases were exonerated. 6 of those cases were unfounded. 3 of those cases were not sustained. 1 was sustained, and 2 are still pending. Total of 30 complaints. The allegations primarily involved procedural issues, conduct-related complaints, and 1 use of force case, which was exonerated. Overall, the audit reflects the majority of complaints were resolved as within policy or unsupported by any evidence. All of this information is on our transparency portal, srpd.org, under the 5-year complaints, where you can go and see the complaints for the last 5 years. In addition to that, we talked about it briefly before. We want to make our complaint page a little bit more robust, and I invite the committee members to engage with their community to solicit maybe some questions that you would like to see on an FAQ page. Some questions could be, what is the complaint process? Who can make a complaint? Can you remain anonymous? Please email me your thoughts. It is a work in progress, but we do plan on making our complaint page and then transparency portal a little bit more robust in the sense of defining what a complaint is and what we can and what we cannot do. SAFE. There was a call for some SAFE statistics. Just a reminder, this is not a SAFE presentation. You've already had it, but SAFE is a very valuable resource. They are dedicated to handle calls for service of people under the influence of drug or alcohol and need for treatment for mental illnesses, things that don't rise to the level of violence. There is always, per our contract, as you recall, I just want to remind you, per the contract we have with SAFE, there's always one EMT and one crisis-trained individual. The crisis-trained individual gets advanced training in the crisis interventions training. With all that, the stats, which you're waiting for, the SAFE team operates on the fiscal year, so starts in July, ends in June. So right now we're right about halfway through the 25-26 year. And year to date, we have SAFE has handled 1,577. That's as, not as to date, as of the end of December, 1,577 calls for service. We do plan, I'll probably repeat myself, we do plan on creating another transparency portal on our webpage that outlines a very robust outline of demographics, what the call types are, who initiated them, whether they were housed or unhoused individuals. And with that as a footnote, we don't ask everybody, or SAFE team doesn't ask everybody. It's usually if they're known or not known, if they're housed or unhoused. So we'll have data not collected box in there as well. Same with demographics. If it's known, the SAFE team are the ones who fill out these reports after every call. Just a brief highlight. The highest call volume in type would be counseling requests, public assist, welfare checks. A welfare check, for example, could be somebody calling in, there's somebody sleeping on the sidewalk, they're breathing, they just need to be checked upon. So that's something that would be a welfare check. And first aid calls for service that are low level, that the EMT, not a paramedic, would need to handle. And there are times, it says so far, the police or EMS has requested SAFE 129 times. But I do want to emphasize that, out of those 129, SAFE has dealt with 1,577, which is about average, about 3,000 calls a year that SAFE is able to help assist people in need rather than police involvement. So good news there. An update on our drone as first responder program. I've heard a lot of questions about that. City Council passed it last summer. It is a lot more technical aspects involved than we thought, just to be fully transparent. We got our first drone up and running at the end of October, and then we got our second drone just this month. So we also have roughly about a dozen officers, give or take, that are still applying for their Part 107 license. That's the license that's needed to fly the drone. Right now, we only have 2 pilots. I think a third one just passed their test on Monday. So we do anticipate the calls or the deployments of the drone to increase. But so far, we have deployed the drone just under 150 times. We have named our drone unofficially Air 1 and Air 2. It's just for internal documentation. So on the transparency portal, it probably won't differentiate Air 1 and Air 2. But right now they have been deployed on numerous calls, suspicious persons, vehicle and pedestrian accidents where there are known or unknown injuries, disturbance-related calls, quality of life issues, some medical and fire calls they've been deployed to. I want to share with you, if you indulge me, on one recent success story that we had on the drone. As you probably are aware, in mid-December, we had an unfortunate homicide that occurred within our city. The department deployed its drone, its first responder program, and within 79 seconds was able to find the victim that the patrol officers were not yet able to find. The drone pilot was able to direct the patrol officers there to find the victim and provide the much needed medical aid before that victim was transported to the hospital. Because of the drone is finding the victim, we were able to also associate the suspect vehicle in that. And for sake of time, within 24 hours, we did have all 4 suspects in custody on this case. So I think it was a win that if it wasn't for our drone as first responder program and the Flock ALPR cameras that we had, I don't know how we would have solved this case. So there is a success story on the drone program. Right now, we are still working with Flock to integrate our computer-aided dispatch. I was told today that we found a way to document the types of calls for service. So those 150 calls, we do plan on going back in there. Right now, you can go in, if you haven't, look in the transparency portal and seen the flight path. You can zoom in and see the map. What is supposed to be on there is the call for service type. So from, I think it was today on, we will start to have that call for service type. If there's any questions on any of the other 150, happy to disclose anything. It's all public. We want to make it transparent as possible, minus obviously the personal identifying information details. Updates. We had our first Coffee with the Cop yesterday. Thank you for those PAC members and community members that might be listening online or watching that attended. We plan to have many more. I want to remind the committee and the public, if you haven't done so already, to sign up for the City of San Rafael Snapshot. We plan on advertising when we do have Coffee with the Cops through that venue, and you can easily just Google City of San Rafael Snapshot, and the first button that comes up is subscribe. So please do that. And my last announcement is we are hosting our Community Academy again. It's going to start April 1st through June 3rd. We do plan on holding a couple spots for PAC members, but I also want to take this opportunity for the community and those that are interested, please apply online. The link is right there on our page. We will move it up tomorrow for the top of our webpage, so it'll be easy to navigate. And if, as always, if you have any questions, I'm here to assist. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Lieutenant Eberly, for your report. Just a question. I know we have the access to go on ride-alongs with police officers. I know SAFE, it's its own entity. Are we also allowed to like ride along with them? Because I like their approach with the
Yeah.
unhoused and with there was a 5150 situation. I went on a ride along that SAFE team came. I'm just kind of curious if we can connect with them.
Great question. No, unfortunately for HIPAA concerns, they deal quite intimately with a vulnerable population, and they have made it a rule that no ride-alongs are allowed.
And thank you. And one more question. As far as the drones, once when this program is up and running, are we able to like do like a shadow of like one of these calls? I know it's probably like, it's like a last minute thing, right? It's like they just.
Yeah, so we don't, they're not
They're
we
not, like,
can't, under
anticipated.
policy, we can't, there's no planned, deployments. They all are at the mercy of whatever the call for service is that day. But, the Community Academy does get an opportunity to see a drone presentation. So if you haven't participated, those of you in the community that are listening, please sign up. You will get a drone presentation, and fingers crossed nobody wants anything bad to happen, but there might be a chance where you get to see the drone in action. If not, we might be able to play an older video clip as long as there's no personal identifying information.
I'm sorry, members of the public, I'm having a hard time comprehending what's happening. If you can please be respectful. Thanks. Can you please continue?
Yes, we the Community Academy might provide an opportunity to see maybe some old videos. We would definitely redact any personal identifying information, so it would be accessible to the public. But
Okay, thank you. Yeah, if you do have once a pilot or something you do, we like to let us know. We like to check it out. Excited about it.
Absolutely.
Great work on the drone. Nice to hear success stories.
Thank you.
Chair.
Can I ask a question?
Oh, go ahead.
Do you want to ask it? Go ahead.
I heard that we have 3 licensed as of now, and were we unable to deploy a DFR because we didn't have a pilot?
Yes.
How many times?
There's probably not really an easy way to capture that, but the drone pilots work a shift. Either it's a 312 or 410, and when there's no pilot on duty, then there's no drone that can be deployed. But it is motivating those pilots that are in line to become pilots to get their license. It's not an easy process. It's very, very difficult. You have to actually go physically to the FAA and take the test. But we're getting there. We're at the point now that we're starting to get more
Thank
people.
you. We'll take one more question and
Yes.
let's move on.
Thank you for the report. I really appreciate it. My question was, you mentioned safety checks, and wanted to just clarify. If you are a senior citizen at home and you wanted a safety check, or your neighbor wanted a safety check, does the policing go out or does the safe go out for that? Something like
I
that?
think it would depend really. If it's a safety check because you feel like there's somebody in your backyard and somebody's not supposed to be there, the police would go.
No, well, you mentioned safety in this. I was thinking the safety of nobody's seen the person for 3 days, that kind of a thing,
Police department would deploy, and oftentimes the safe team also goes
Okay.
with them.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you. I would like to invite public comments on this matter. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I would just like to ask a question. Officer Everly, you mentioned suspicious persons. You mentioned suspicious persons as being one impetus of using a drone. And that brings to mind the question of some of the things we've talked about before in this meeting, and that is the bias by proxy difficulty, where an officer might come out and determine there was no need for that call because the bias was by a civilian who called for help. How is that handled with respect to a drone spotting?
I'm happy to answer that question. So it would depend on the circumstances that are relayed. So the first point of intake is our dispatcher who is asking questions. Our bias by proxy policy, which came as a recommendation from this committee, focuses on the behavior, not the individual. So, what is the individual doing that's indicating some type of suspicion, not what the person looks like. The second point of contact for that would be a supervisor. If they hear that call being dispatched, they could look at the call, make an evaluation, and determine whether we should go or not, or whether the supervisor might call that reporting party and ask more probing questions as to the behavior as opposed to what the individual looked like. And then lastly, the drone pilots would make a determination whether they're going to launch and respond with that vehicle or whether it would just be a routine police officer that would be assigned to that call.
Thank you, Chief. Any other public? Yes, sir.
Thank you, Spiller, Chief, for that explanation. And that's a perfect example of the Brown Act. Brown Act is discretion, and he can, at any time, you can at any time weigh in with appropriate comments with the community. So at times, Mr. Fatai would cut us all off, say, no, can't discuss anything. Brown Act, the discretion for a brief comment, explanation. Now, why I'm up here, we talked about Mr. Eberly, Lieutenant, mentioned complaints. We in the community, you, as we want better, we must make aware and tell the community to complain, make complaints if necessary. Don't be afraid. If you need help, people out here will help them write complaints, go to with the station with them to write complaint. We need more complaints. The amount of complaints compared to the amount of issues out there doesn't add up. We in the community need to always recognize and tell people in the community to file complaints. As my buddy who got pulled over, speaker mentioned earlier, I know him very well, grew up with him. I hope he filed a complaint. There was an officer here who was here a few years ago. I think it was before your time. You got here when he was out here. He was here, a black officer. He felt it was okay to target black men because you can't say racism. Of course it was racism. It's at the lead of this department. How many complaints did he have on file? Probably very few. But he was a hell on wheels, and he was a terror. And you know it, and you know it. I'm glad he's gone. File complaints.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I just wanted to remind you all that the drones as first responders were marketed to the Canal neighborhood as an opportunity to address a lot of our neighbors' concerns about safety. And what we haven't heard is it doing that? I remember community members asking if the drones would have operators who could speak Spanish and microphone Spanish language through there. We have not heard anything about whether the promise made that this would increase safety in the Canal neighborhood has been delivered upon, and I encourage you all to keep asking that question. In alignment with asset-based language rather than deficit-based language, I would also encourage you to move away from calling communities vulnerable or disadvantaged. That makes it seem like it's their fault or under-resourced. How about historically marginalized communities? That talks about the system, the racism, the patriarchy, the capitalism that has led to them being in the conditions that they're in. There are reasons why some communities have dump sites and others don't. There are reasons why some communities have healthy grocery stores and others just have fast food. Those are policy decisions that impact the health and well-being of communities. And I think when you're talking about policing, that's really important to always keep in mind for this community, that the way that we talk about people, again, really impacts the strategies and the ways that we're trying to support communities in which everyone can reach their full potential, which you play a huge role in that. Thank you.
Lieutenant Everly, the public comment just made, is there a way you can keep, I know when we presented the drones, the voices of Canal were pretty available, pretty outspoken. Is there a way you can keep it on your radar, if keep us posted on this drone and how actively being used in the vulnerable areas?
Yeah, absolutely. It will be, I think it's going to be start documented tonight. So you'll be able to go on the transparency portal and see where it was, the flight of the drone
Okay.
and what the drone was flown for.
Okay, thank you. You want to come up? Yeah. I was about to, but I'll give you 2 minutes if you want to talk. Come on down.
I just felt like it was necessary to emphasize the importance of not using the word vulnerable.
What is the right word you're saying?
So I think Heidi gave a great example. Also saying communities that are disproportionately impacted is a good term to use. I just like the blame shifting that occurs when you say vulnerable populations. It just like words matter.
Okay,
So-
noted. Thank you. All right, I will close public comment. I will now go to committee's report. I will invite public comments and committee reports. Is that we passed that? Where are we?
So you're at committee report.
Sorry, my bad. Okay. Okay, second day on the job. All right. Number 3, meeting minutes.
You're at committee reports where each member of the committee will provide
Okay.
report outs
Okay,
to the public.
that's what I wanted to do. Thank you. Thanks for clarifying.
Committee reports.
Yes, please, go ahead. Would you like to start?
Start with the other hand.
I got you. Okay, let's start from Carla, please.
On last week on Wednesday, I attended a community meeting regarding the light project at, I forgot the name, but we call the Bahia. Yeah. And there were people from the community there, people from Voces del Canal, also one of the city council members. I don't know how to pronounce her last name, but it was Micah. Yeah. And yesterday, I also attended Coffee with a Cup, and I saw President Davidi there, and I think Paula was there before too. And that's all. Thank you.
All right, good evening, everybody. I have two reports. I'm going to start off in chronological order. On January 9th, 2026, I had the honor to attend a police ride-along with our San Rafael Police Department. It was my first time. My key takeaways, I'm going to start off with with the officer interactions I had. I had the wonderful opportunity to accompany Officer Mearns. Along the way, I got to see interactions with other officers as well. And I really want to highlight how impressed I was with how our officers were able to interact with the public, and their ability to remain professional and calm under pressure. I did observe an unfortunate and very serious traffic collision. But aside from that, I definitely appreciated seeing how our officers were able to manage the situation and work in collaboration with third parties and the public. Our officers' ability to remain calm while dealing with this situation in the middle of a very busy intersection was incredible. In regards to community engagement, I was also impressed to see how our officers engage with our community. I had the opportunity to view a traffic stop in which the driver did not have their headlights turned on. Officer Mearns interacted with the driver, concluded it was an honest mistake. Driver was let go with a warning instead of a ticket. And these sorts of interactions really bolster positive attitudes towards our department and with our community. When it comes to operational insights, it was incredible to be in a position where I could see firsthand what goes on behind the scenes. Oftentimes, the public views officers when they are on scenes of an incident or on a patrol. So to be able to see the logistical aspects of the shift, such as coordination calls, dispatch communication, and decision-making processes, truly provide a valuable perspective on what the public doesn't typically always see. Overall, this ride-along was a very wonderful experience and gave me a stronger understanding of the sorts of challenges and rewards that our law enforcement officers deal with on a regular basis. This experience is going to help shape my interactions when it comes to public engagement, which leads me to my next report. On January 16, 2026, I had the honor to engage in community outreach with Vice Chair Ruiz. We conducted door-to-door community outreach to gather resident perspectives on policing and neighborhood quality of life concerns. We were focused mainly within the neighborhood of Canal. We spent about an hour and a half going door to door, asking a variation of these three questions. One, what positive impacts have you seen from the San Rafael Police Department? Two, what negative impacts have you seen from the San Rafael Police Department? And three, what issues should the San Rafael Police Department address more closely? Many of the responses were drawn towards the third question, which was what issues should SRPD address more closely? Residents frequently raise concerns related to graffiti, public drinking, smoking, and groups of youth gathering in public areas who display indicators of gang affiliation.
Member Rodas, can you say that list one more time slowly? Sorry.
Sure, yeah, of course.
Graffiti?
Yes, so residents frequently raise concerns related to graffiti, public drinking and smoking, and groups of youth gathering in public areas who display indicators of gang affiliation. And this was a very limited scope of community outreach. So I don't want this to necessarily be a conclusive indicator of the concerns that the community in Canal has or the city as a whole. I want to limit it to just that evening in which Vice Chair Ruiz and I conduct the community outreach. Thank you.
Thank you for your comprehensive report. Really appreciate your hard work on that. I know you're new with us, but thanks for already hitting the ground running.
Thank you.
Okay, Member Nugent, no? Member Alm?
Thank you, Chair. I do have one thing to report. On January 9th, I was invited by the County of Marin to be a community stakeholder on the interview panel for the Inspector General for the Sheriff's Civilian Oversight Commission. We interviewed five candidates. It was a really interesting experience. I really appreciated the collaboration. It was a full day and it took a lot, but it was really interesting to work with different stakeholders in the community, and I appreciated that time.
Thank you. I also attended Coffee with the Cup on United Market. I think the topic of traffic safety seems to be a hot topic these days on San Pedro Road with we had a tragic event and another event follow. So just being mindful of that as we head into this our event, our meeting. So yeah, that was my committee report. Member Ruiz?
Mi informe va a ser en español. Estuve en la misma reunión que estuvo mi compañera Carla. Información muy importante de la ciudad sobre nuevos proyectos que vienen para nuestra comunidad del canal. La verdad es que estamos muy contentos con esos nuevos proyectos que van a llegar. Y la otra es de que sí estuve con mi compañero, el joven Rodas, tocando puertas en el Building 400 y las personas tienen muy buenas ideas, comentarios. También agradecieron siempre la participación de la policía. Fue nuestro último comentario. Cosas muy buenas ha hecho la policía en nuestra comunidad. Gracias.
So I just want to inform everybody, again, I was in the same meeting as our member Carla was, where it was it was a meeting for the city where they were able to talk about some new projects that were going to be coming around, especially in the area of the neighborhood of Canal, which made a lot of us very, very happy. We're very excited about that, thankful. Also, as mentioned before, I was with the young man, Rodas, where we did get the opportunity to go around into the neighborhood, particularly like in building 400, where we got to talk to a lot of members of the community and neighbors who had a lot of good ideas, a lot of great comments. And among that, they had a lot of praise and we're very thankful with the police department of San Rafael for their help and all the work that they've been doing.
Just want to thank the translator if that was good. Thank you. It's clear. Let's invite him back. All right, let's throw it to member Tukolahi.
I don't have a lot to report apart from it's also tough too because the kind of work that I do mixed with it's all about community outreach. I do community outreach throughout the whole county, pretty much every day, like half of the day, sometimes the whole day. So I'm out there with the community. I'm spending a lot of time in the canal too, working with Canal Alliance, Voices of the Canal. Those folks, they've been really good, even though I don't speak Spanish, but they've been very helpful with my line of work too. So they know that I'm with the pack, but they also know my other jobs. So it's not a mixed feeling, but when I'm out there, I'm doing community outreach and I'm talking to people. And whenever I have the chance to talk to them about the work that we do and trying to stay engaged with the communities, like I'll do it. I know that from our last meeting, and I think that's my goal moving forward. I'm just going to stick to that main thing, even though it's not on our top 6 or top 5. And I know that most of the folks who were here in the last meeting, they bring that up. Community engagement is, one of the very important factor. And I know like the civilian committee too, it's part of the work plan, to stay engaged with the community. And that's what I'm just going to keep doing, whichever way. So
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Member Camina?
Good evening, and thank you all so much. So my report is not very long. I've had conversations with Mr. Pegolo about his various concerns about the committee, and Mr. Morgan, my new friend. It's always nice to talk with him. We chatted actually more about what was happening at Marin City, but it affects all of us. When the press release came out for the traffic detail that you did, I posted that on Nextdoor in relation to a conversation that was ongoing in my neighborhood about whether Point San Pedro Road was over policed or under-policed. And very tragically, it was the evening before the young woman was killed, just horrible. And when our school, high school overcrossing was apparently trashed by a drunk driver. I'm not sure how that happened, but just, so I would continue to say that traffic is quite an issue. I want to compliment the staff on the work that they did for this evening. I know it was a massive effort, and I'm sure conversation will be had. I have spoken with Member Alm about participating in neighborhood association meetings, and we've agreed to speak at some of them that are in the coming months for community engagement. And then finally, I did have a conversation with our city attorney in passing, but want to say that it's my understanding, I think I'm correct, but if I'm wrong, please feel free to correct me, that as of July of this year, public meetings that are on Zoom will afford the people on Zoom an opportunity to make comment. And I think that's a matter of structuring the equipment in order for that to happen, but that should happen starting in July. I think this year. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Member Locks, please.
Mike.
Oh, thank you. Sometimes you have to press hard, yeah. I wrote out my statement, so I'm just going to go with the statement, even though some of the content has been addressed already. Our committee is to advise the San Rafael City Council on the recommendations and/or policies that directly impact policing and safety within the city of San Rafael. Our committee is to have an awareness of how SRPD interacts with the various community groups. We should not be hearing such comments as, "I was scared," "I felt bullied," "We became less safe after the police encounters." On Martin Luther King Day, and the Martin Luther King issues, or what he supported was unity, justice, peace, and community work. So I engaged in various community activities on that day, including I held an open Zoom meeting with San Rafael residents, San Rafael service providers, and others to hear their policing and safety concerns and/or issues. Including myself, there were 15 participants. There was a lot of discussion, and I'm going to talk on two main topics. There were several themes and two compliments. There was a lot of discussion about the Zoom access and being able to give comments anonymously. There was a lot of feeling of or fear of retaliation. And when we're collecting our data about, let's say we only got 30 comments, as you were saying, Lieutenant, or such and such, that skews the information if we have got 60 people who have not commented, what I'm saying. It's like we need to have various ways of people being able to give feedback besides the police portal, the online, or the policing station, because some people really will not go to those two sites, those two areas. So, so those were the findings, to present their findings and concerns. The second area, the content of the annual report about our committee's can't even read my own writing, advising the San Rafael City Council to consider the 4 Mill Valley Free recommendations. The current report lacks internal and external validity as to the what, how of the committee's voted motion. So it's really not fully expressing what we recommended, how the annual report is formulated. 2 compliments. The compliments that came from this group was the fact that the San Rafael Police Department is a non-participant in the ICE, not cooperating with the ICE agenda. But they recommended that, remember that for misdemeanors, to exercise a cite and release versus a booking into jail, which becomes public access if they're booked. So, and I did hear about citing and letting go. So anyway, so that was a compliment. The other compliment, and it was an area that I learned about and want to share with everyone, is called the RAP. And I thought they were saying R-A-P, but no, it's W-R-A-P. The RAP restraint technique is not used by our San Rafael Police Department. And I went online to see what that technique is, and I want to say thank you for not making that part of the policy of our policing. So those were the two compliments. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your comments. I will now go to public comments. I don't see any, and I will close all right. I know it's a jam-packed exciting, so yes, please calm down.
No license plates, cars, white people, rich white people. Outreach, community outreach and engagement. That's great. With the purpose, with the plan, not just checking a box. There's been different levels of community engagement outreach for decades. What has changed? You can say nothing has changed. Overall stops throughout the state is down, way down, because of cell phone cameras and all that those kind of things, and because of committees and people talking about it, but they're way down. But the disparities aren't down. The disparities are still there. So when we outreach and we talk, what's the plan? One plan is to alert the people to file complaints. That way, you have a better understanding. We all have a better understanding of what's actually happening. Imagine a cop receiving 8 complaints in a matter of a few months. It's possible. Not all cops, of course, not all. There's some out there who are doing things who deserve that kind of level, that amount of complaints. If we push that more, we must, because when we get those complaints, we'll get to what we want to get to, need to get to. That's some massive lawsuits. Many are out there. We're trying to get there. We're pulling data, and we're going to get there. We're going to get there. We can talk till we black and blue in the face. We can talk, stare at each other, pretend we care, right? Have these committee meetings and, pretend, be political, all those little games. But until we get some massive lawsuits going, what's going to change? Very little. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to say that I actually attended that Zoom meeting that was an open forum, and there were people online that didn't have their picture showing, and it gave them an opportunity to communicate freely. And I really want to encourage this group to continue that process, maybe monthly, or what works in your personal schedules, or maybe if Salama does it once a month, that's great. I know that you can't hold quorum, and so she wouldn't encourage that in any way or represent the city of San Rafael in any manner. But at the same time, you don't allow a Zoom comment to be made by an anonymous individual here at these particular meetings. And going into the community, whether, in person, also doesn't allow someone to remain anonymous, but also speak their truth. And I think that having the opportunity in that type of forum does give an individual who might be on probation, who might be unhoused, who might not normally want to engage you, the chance to speak. And that's what this is about. It's about centering the community's voices here in San Rafael.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I do want to acknowledge and appreciate that some of you all went out and talked to people and asked, what do you think? That is the whole purpose of this committee, is to try to rebuild trust, both with police officers in the community and police officers. And you are a bridge to doing that, where both groups see the other's full humanity, and where it's okay to redefine what safety is. I think the police have been assigned to do lots of things that are not within their scope and don't make people feel safe. We have the SAFE team because that was a better fit for responding to behavioral health concerns in our community. And so more like that, like what does the community think safety is, and then how do we build it together? That's what equity is. That's what building systems that work for everyone, that aren't one-sided. I think that's so important, that you all get out there and get the feedback. I did want to circle back to one of the things that came up on Saturday about hiring a Vietnamese police officer as a request. I want to remind us that's why we keep asking for a presentation on culture and a measurement of culture, because Daisy Mazariegos was a Latina woman from the Canal neighborhood, Guatemalan, and she beat up another Guatemalan person in that neighborhood. So just having somebody of the same race and ethnicity doesn't necessarily mean good policing. A lot of times officers are hired in and they assimilate to the culture, and we have to make sure we know what that culture is before we start trying to make it more representative. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right, let's move. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm back. I wanted to come up and say that I think that the open forum Zoom that committee member Locks did was a beautiful thing. If we talk about First Amendment, right, like the freedom of expression, right? People, to think that people would come here and openly express their concerns. This isn't a safe space for a lot of people. And I think opportunities where people can provide their feedback in a safe space like on Zoom, where they can provide feedback anonymously, gives you a much more well-rounded picture of how the community is actually feeling. So I hope those continue. I did not attend the first one, but I will attend future Zooms. And I just want to say that I think it's a beautiful thing for people to have a safe space to provide honest feedback.
Thank you. Chief, one of the things we've discussed in the past, maybe having a different setting where we have these meetings, something in a different vibe. You have any
No updates,
No
Mr.
updates.
Chair. I shared with the committee at our January 10th workshop that we can keep this on the forefront of staff's mind and report out to this committee as the city makes improvements to other available meeting rooms, including community centers and things like that. I reported that on the 10th, and there's been no substantive construction or advancement on that project across the city, but we will keep the committee apprised so we can potentially change venue.
Yeah, keep us posted. It'd be nice to at least have one of these meetings in a different setting. Okay, thank you. And let's take one question and we'll go.
I just wanted to say, as part of my report, I forgot to say that I am planning on holding open Zoom meetings the Mondays before our Wednesday meetings. So like what I previously did, I'm planning on continuing that. And from the meeting, there was a suggestion of different ways of doing outreach. And I took under advisement that I am willing to do tabling at Farmers Market. So those are the areas that I'm planning to do, as well as such things that like Daniel had expressed, or no, that you had expressed about associations. Yes, because we have a Chairland Association to which I can participate in. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. There was also a mention last time about social media. I think we are the social media here. I think the expectation is for us to be more involved, attend these, meet with the coffee for a cup. I think there's a lot of opportunities that we can step up a little bit. I think I think we're in a phase of this pack that I like to see us be more involved, be more engaged. And I appreciate the modeling we have for what other people are doing. I like to see some of the people who haven't done much we have time to get in. I will go ahead.
If I may, to the chair, so there were a couple of comments and from Member Locks about the Zoom meeting. And so I just want to, indicate that we'll get some guidance and instruction from the city clerk and the city attorney's office. There are some things that we need to be mindful of in terms of the Brown Act and the California Public Records Act, and want to make sure that the committee has the advice of the city clerk and the city attorney. We'll provide that in writing, and we may need to have the city attorney come and give some guidance and some recommendations about, if members are going to do that, how they might proceed. But just want to say that we will be providing some guidance about that either in writing, or we'll invite the city attorney and city clerk if they're available to come to the next meeting to give some guidance to the PAC in that regard.
Okay.
My response to you is, I'm not understanding the difference between me standing in a community center and taking reports from 100 people, writing down notes about that, and using microphones, how that is different from me holding my personal Zoom meeting with, I didn't say I was a PAC member. I said I wanted feedback about our policing and safety. Any concerns? And I got both comments that were constructive criticism as well as positives. So I'm not understanding why Zoom is an issue. That needs to be explained.
That will
you.
be explained. That will
Thank
be
you.
explained by the city clerk and the city attorney. And so, as you all know, we have staff liaisons that provide support to this committee, and the city clerk and the city attorney provide support to all the boards, commissions, and committees. And so we're just bringing them in to provide you their advice and recommendation so that this committee can act in accordance with the Public Records Act and the Brown Act. I'm not saying that anything was done untowards in that regard, but we just want to make sure that if committee members are going to be hosting engagement, that they are aware of the pitfalls and concerns from the city clerk and the city attorney so that they can proceed lawfully.
Thank you. Thank you.
And there's one other point. I'll defer to Lieutenant Eberly or to Chief Spiller. There was a comment about complaints. And so I think it'd be good to clarify how members of the community can make complaints. It was suggested that they can only be provided to the police department, but I believe that there's another avenue via post, which is not associated with the San Rafael Police Department. So I'll defer to either Chief Spiller or Lieutenant Eberly to clarify how complaints can be made so people understand that they don't just have to be made at the police department.
Correct. So there is an independent oversight that oversees all the police officers' certificates in order to perform their law enforcement duties. Any community member can fill out a complaint directly to Post. It's online. I'd have to search back our records, but we did provide that information. It's probably been about 2 years. But there's a link. You can also probably Google Post and SB2 and police officer complaints, and it'll bring you right to that complaint portal.
Member Rodas, go ahead. Yes. 1 second. I would like to throw it over here.
Yeah, I just have a really quick question. I guess I'm still new, so people participating on Zoom can't make comments or questions?
So currently, all of our public meetings, people that participate remotely can only view. They can't call in and make comments. They can't turn on their videos. They can't use the chat feature. So there is legislation that's going into effect July 1st, 2026, SB 707, which requires for legislative bodies that cities and counties provide opportunities for remote participation. There are also some modifications around remote participation of committee members and board members as well, but we'll provide some guidance and instruction on that. And the city clerk will be advising on how the city will implement SB 707.
Okay, well, that's promising. Thank you. Thank you for that update. All right, I will have to technically close public comment. I don't think if I did that. And now we go to meeting. No. Member Locks, are you good back there? Can we move on? It's a big packed item too.
Go ahead and move on.
All right. Okay, we'll come back to you, okay? All right, we're moving forward. Meeting minutes. I will ask if there's any questions from the committee, and I will go in this order about the minutes that was given to you in advance. Member Alm,
Chair, no questions.
Member Kamina,
No questions or comments.
Member Nugan, Member Rodas,
No questions.
Member Tukolahi,
No questions.
Vice Chair Ruiz,
No, thank you.
Member Locks,
Thank you. Are we referring to the January 10th?
January 2nd.
And December.
Can you clarify?
Yeah,
Ms.
there's two draft
two
minutes,
draft, yeah.
November and January. So this is encompassing both.
Encompassing both.
Both minutes from two meetings.
I think better form is to do them individually, but so for the January 10th, I have no comments on the January 10th. I think we were going to talk about the excuse me, I forgot. I'm sorry. On the January 10th, I did call in and say that I did want to comment on how it was that we selected our report, our work program, our work plan. And my concerns about the work plan is that in the past, when Lieutenant Eberly did it, there was more participation, and I felt it was more transparent, and that we had an opportunity to say all of the topics, and then as a group to then go back and vote for our various top 5. And when there were ties, that we were then able to then go back, and if there were ties, we were able to do another voting or tabulation of our choices and break the ties. It seems to me that that kind of process was not happening. And so I have great concerns about us going forward with these topics as listed, because some of them I think could have actually been combined. For example, the topic used, and I'm using the language that's written here, human trafficking, and then where was the other? Well, I think some things could have been combined, like even with the homelessness. It's not that we're asking how to solve homelessness, and somebody I think from the community said that. We're asking, how does our police department interact with, support safety in situations like that with the homeless? That's our job, not you solve homelessness. That's not what we're asking of you, and that's not what we should be even concerned with. But it's how the policing interacts with the various groups. And so some of these I think can be, I basically would like to revisit the topics and not to just to endorse this reporting as is. I think it needs to be revisited. And also the RIPA is not even on here, and that was someone who did actually mention RIPA in one of their 5 things, I believe. So so those are my comments that I feel that needs to be revisited. It's not that it's a better working plan, and also that we, for the record, because we are being recorded, it's not that I don't feel that the staff should be providing all of the SMEs, which is us. My brain is going. Subject matter experts, thank you. That it's not that we're expecting staff to be providing who the speakers will be, or the people that are providing information or education. I want to say that the committee can provide SMEs to come. And I'm still working to see what dates, that we now have our dates, if and when the professor from Stanford, Professor Jennifer Eberly,
Maybe Take a little water break. We'll come back. Any other?
Eberhard, when she'll be able to come, because we're still working. I just talked with her staff today. Okay, that's it.
Okay.
That's it.
Thank you. Member Alvarez. Valdez, what? Alvarez, sorry.
Comment or questions?
I think I did that.
And for me, no comments or question. I will invite public comment on this matter.
Yeah, but why are we doing them together?
I agree, having attended the meeting, that the ranking is really confusing. And when I look at the point, like, I don't feel like I was in the room and it was not explained. It was asked that everyone say your first priority and all that. But that means that if all 9 of you voted for something fifth, my understanding is it would only get 9 points. But then if 3 people voted for something first, it would get 15 points. So it didn't really take the whole picture of voting into account. And as someone who was here for the meeting, I didn't understand it. And I'm supposing that some of you on this committee didn't understand how the priorities were getting ranked. And I would like to ask that that be explained, and then this committee decide if you think that your top choices are represented. Also, I do think in my notes I had that we didn't need RIPA on here. I don't see it on here, but Member Alm did list RIPA as one of the things, and it's not on here. He also listed drones as first responders with the K9 and said it doesn't have to, like, let's talk about different response methods. That's not on here. So then that makes me start being concerned about the integrity of the whole list and the ranking. Thank you.
I also attended that meeting, and it was part of what I said in my public comment earlier. The reason why I said it was I went back through the video. I not only took notes of what you guys were saying when you went through your lists, but then I went back through, and even when I did apply the city's weight system, it didn't correlate to what your list is now in the minutes, and things aren't being represented. So I encourage you to go back. This is being recorded. Look at what you said. This is your committee. You're independent thinkers, right? So please don't just take what's being told, but actually look at the video, go through, ask the questions, ask them how they got to this list. Member Alm's things weren't even listed in these minutes. So it really is hard to build trust in the community, in all the communities that you're serving, when things don't correlate and add up.
Thank you. Yes,
I
Member
have
Camino.
one comment that while RIPA isn't listed specifically, pretext stops are, and I sort of thought that's what the whole topic was about. So that's why we may disagree, but I just wanted to acknowledge that it was there.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Yeah, since it's been brought up, I want to comment on it. RIPA is a much broader, comprehensive source of data and helpful information than simply pretext stops. So if anybody is mistaken to think that listing pretext stop is listing RIPA, that's mistaken. Secondly, I want to point out very briefly that RIPA is the one single comprehensive objective window into the activities of a police force. It is numerically calculated, it is collected, it is analyzed, and is submitted. And this body thought RIPA was a strong enough topic that you passed all 4 recommendations that were presented to you based upon RIPA. So I'm floored that RIPA for the year 2026 is not part of the work plan. It makes no sense whatsoever. Thank you.
Thank you.
I agree with the previous speakers. I am floored with this gentleman also. RIPA, I think, is turned in. It's finalized yearly, early in the year or what month? Springtime or summer. From the previous year, spring is when they get the previous year's numbers, statistics. How can we have this committee here and not have RIPA a part of the work plan? It is, I am floored. It's pretty amazing, actually. And you know what? To be honest, I think there's a few people who don't want it, and this is my opinion. And a few others are just saying, okay, you don't want it, we'll go along with it. There's a few people who don't want it. Most likely is Lieutenant and Chief and one or two others, probably Mr. Fatai, who don't want this, and you're listening to them. Add RIPA to the work plan. I'll say this. And I'm not trying to preach to you. I'm really not, but it's your committee. You can change it when you want. Just change it. Add RIPA. Let's discuss it. It's information we all need, we all want, and we want a dialogue. Just talk about RIPA at some point. There's no way we should have a year's worth of meetings and no RIPA. So I ask you humbly to add RIPA to this work plan. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I couldn't resist weighing in on that and just pointing out that when you all heard the RIPA report in May 21st of last year, you voted unanimously that this committee should and would conduct an annual equity assessment based on RIPA data. And that was one recommendation. The other recommendation that you voted unanimously on was to do use RIPA data to do updated monitoring and metrics of all your equitable policing strategies. I don't know what happened to that. It's now, we'll be talking about it later in connection with the annual report. But it seems to me nothing has happened between then and now to explain why you are no longer committed to this annual equity assessment under RIPA and the use of this incredibly valuable data.
Thank you.
So I agree with everything that's been said. I also, I'm curious because the very first one on here that's ranked number 1, human trafficking, it's extremely vague. And I don't even know if you all are on the same page as what that topic entails. And if you're going to be looking at police interactions with victims of human trafficking or those that are doing to me, it's just extremely vague. And I think it needs to be narrowed down and explained more so that you all are on the same page. If you are, that's great. But so that the community understands what it is that you're actually going to be talking about. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I see no other public comment. I will close public comment. I will ask the staff, please respond to any of the community's questions.
Ms. Komoda will respond to the question about the difference between the process that was done in January 2025 versus January 2026.
Okay, just a few things of note. Obviously, there were some questions about whether we were raising hands and going down in the process this year versus last year. Just to remind everyone, it's also in the minutes that we asked each of the members to compile their individual and independent top 5 priorities after 2 hours of conversation about the work plan, asking you to rank 1 through 5 and explaining that number 1 would be given the highest number of points, so on and so forth. So we ended up with 19 different topics. We do provide action minutes So I understand there were some comments about, expand upon this. This is just a very brief ranking that's noted in the minutes. There is the ranking sheet, which if it would appease the committee, we can always add that to the minutes since it was part of the meeting. We also provided opportunity during the meeting for all of the members, if they had any other changes they wanted to make or change their rankings or change their priorities. Time was allotted for that during the meeting, and there was no response from anyone on the committee. So the ranking here, if it is confusing, we're more than happy to then also provide the actual ranking that you each individually provided.
Thank you. Thank you. I will now ask the committee for comments. I will start with Member Alm.
My comment would be, I would appreciate each individual member's ranking. I think that's helpful for the minutes. That would give better context and transparency. That would be my motion for approval would be the addition of individual members' rankings.
Member Kamina.
I would second the motion.
Wasn't a motion. Comment.
Yes, I thought you made a motion.
We're making comments.
Comment.
Sorry.
I made a comment and disclosed what my motion would be.
I have no comment.
Member Nugan.
No.
Member Rodas.
I do support the idea of including our individual rankings. I do want to remind everybody we did have a couple hours long conversation on ranking this. We did have a motion listing our 6 topics. We had a person who seconded, and we all voted. But as well, for the sake of transparency, I think we should include our individual rankings.
Thank you, Member Tukolahi.
Concerning the ranking of our top issues with our work plan, I think it was clear to me, I mean, like even the person with English as second language, I was sitting here, I think it was clear. It was pretty clear. Like he was saying, we have our individual ranking, and there were questions asked, and it was tally, and this is the tally report on all our ranking, individual ranking. So I'm fine with it. It was motion, it was passed. I'm okay with it. That doesn't mean like we have to get rid of the rest of the issues on the plan. We can still do some work with that, It's a continuation, it's a nonstop, work with committee members acting on behalf of each of every issues that they brought up out of these 19 total. Yeah. Regarding RIPA, I mean, like I understand and I'm going to stand with my understanding of what happened with, even though the motion is passed, we all have different priorities. These committee members, we all have different priorities, and we voiced that, and we came up with our issues. I know the public have their own different opinions, but not everyone is here. And that's why we do our community engagement, we do our community outreach, we get out there, talk to them. Maybe in the coming years, or like I said, we're not going to write off anything. We can still do work on some of these issues, but yeah.
Good. Thank you. Vice Chair Ruiz.
Any comments? Thank you.
Member Locks.
I did not have a chance to review our proceedings, but I'm wondering if somebody actually said pretext stops was what the topic was they wanted reviewed versus RIPA. I mean, was that actually the stated one? That's what I'm asking, because maybe that pretext stops should be written as RIPA?
I'm more than happy to go and review the video. I have not,
Yeah.
committed everything for the 3 hours to memory, but I
Of
wouldn't have
course.
written something down that one of the members did not say. I know there was clarification about illegal dumping, and a few of the other things that we clarified exactly what
Yeah.
folks were talking about, but I'm more than happy to go back and review that.
Okay, so if somebody did actually request RIPA as one of their 5 choices, it's not listed. It's not, it's not listed.
Your original question was, did someone say RIPA or pretext stop?
That was my original question. And you said you checked to see if it was pretext stops, but my subsequent question is, if pretext stops is there, fine. Where is RIPA? If somebody did actually say that. So were you going to go back and review if somebody actually said RIPA?
If there's a committee member here that feels that they said something that was not accurately captured
Yeah,
in
that's-
these categories, please bring that to my attention.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
Okay, thank you.
Maybe we can table the motion on any motion on the minutes until staff has had an opportunity to review it. Is that possible?
Are you asking to defer the motion?
Yeah, I think I'm just suggesting that we table the issue of the minutes until staff has had an opportunity to review. No? Okay.
No, we can bring back the minutes for January 10th
Yeah,
to the
sure.
February meeting.
Yeah.
If there is concern about the whether it's pretext stops or RIPA, to give Ms. Komodo the time to
Is that
go
what you're
back
asking?
and
I'm sorry,
review.
misunderstood. Yes.
However, you can move it tonight or you can table it to the next meeting. It's totally up to the committee. This is just the minutes.
Do you want to quickly throw one more thing in there?
Yes. Are we going to also vote on the November 19th? Rather than, you said it's a whole package. It should be separate, I think, because we didn't, this is a draft and we need to vote on that as well.
To clarify, you can do 2 separate motions.
Yes.
Someone can move the November 19th minutes as however they
Yeah.
frame that motion, and there could be a separate motion for January 10th, or you can choose to defer that item to the February meeting. So those are the options I'm hearing are being considered at the moment.
Because
Okay, thank you.
there's
Member
separate-
Valdez?
No comments, thank you.
Okay, as far as my comments, I just asked this group to be more prepared in the future because I think we've had time to come up with your top 5. I've noticed, and I'm saying all, some were kind of scrambling to know what we were doing that day. So I think this is the price we pay. So it's hard to go back, but I think there is a system in place. Hopefully we can make it in a way that captures what our priorities are. I know we were supposed to have 5, we went to 6. Having said that, I'm glad that we're here and we're talking about it, but please be prepared and review. I have no other comments. I will ask for a motion to accept the meeting minutes.
Chair, I will make a motion to accept November 19th as stated and January 10th with the understanding we are amending to individual members' rankings.
I second.
Okay. I will ask we'll ask the staff for roll call. Is that the right approach?
That is correct.
Okay, I think I got this plan.
Member
Aye.
Member Kamina, Member Nguyen,
Aye.
Member Rodas,
Aye.
Member Tokalahi, Member Tokalahi,
I'm going to say no.
Vice Chair Ruiz,
Aye.
and that motion passes. Oh, sorry, excuse me, Chair DeViti, thank you.
Aye.
That motion passes.
Did we
6-1.
get everyone? Camino, did you vote? Okay, you voted aye? I missed, what did,
It's a 6-1.
okay. Aye, yeah, okay, sounds great. I'd like to take a break for Toggle and also take a break, bio break.
Well said, Chair.
Huh?
Well said.
It was good. And we went to the Universal Studios to Chair, we have everyone back in the room, and so I'll turn to you to bring the meeting back to order.
Just clarifying the notes that's here, it's 2025 annual report, correct, that we're introducing?
Correct.
Because here it says 2026.
Oh.
Just want to make sure. Okay, I will go over, now we're going to present the 2025 annual report. Staff, please introduce the item. Teresa?
Thank you, Chair DeViti. Good evening, Chair and fellow PAC members. Staff is presenting the final draft of the Police Advisory and Accountability Committee's 2025 annual report. As you may recall, an initial draft of this report was presented to the committee on November the 19th, at which time several members provided feedback and comments. Staff carefully considered that input, made a number of revisions to strengthen the clarity, organization, and completeness. Key updates to the report tonight include the addition of a purpose statement for each topic presented, revisions to the working group subsection, creation of an appendix summarizing all recommendations made throughout the year, the current status of those recommendations, and corresponding staff responses. Staff also updated the report to incorporate the 2025 complaint data and to reflect the remaining meeting topics addressed during the November meeting. Staff is here tonight to present this final draft, respond to committee questions and comments, and request the committee's acceptance of the 2025 annual report. Upon acceptance, staff anticipates presenting the report to City Council at the March 2nd meeting. That's yet to be confirmed. That's the anticipated date. And at this time, we are available for questions. Thank you.
Okay, I will ask the members of our committee for questions. Member Alm?
All my questions are currently answered. Thank you.
Thank you. Member Kamina?
My questions are already answered. Thank you. And it's interesting to note that in the report, you do have the listing of what member wanted what topics, and RIPA is listed. I think it's just to point out that it's in the report, not in the minutes, but that's okay. Thank you.
Thanks for catching that. Thanks for reading it. All right. Member Nguyen? Thank you. Member Rodas?
No questions.
Member Tokolahi?
No questions.
Vice Chair Ruiz?
No question.
Member Locks?
No question.
Member Valdez?
No questions.
And no questions for me. I will now invite public comments on this matter.
Good evening again, Tammy Edmondson for MV Free. I'd like to remind the PAC why you invited MV Free to present to you last year on San Rafael RIPA data. The MV Free police team has spent years studying the annual RIPA data reports and recommendations. No one has more experience analyzing Marin County RIPA data using the formulas and methodologies of the State RIPA Board than MV Free. We are here tonight to urge you to correct the fundamental misstatements and omissions in the draft annual report regarding the May 21st RIPA presentation and recommendations. This PAC's most important power and duty is to, quote, make recommendations to the City Council regarding police policy, procedures, hiring practices, training, and best practices. In 2025, the only substantive recommendations adopted by this PAC were your May 21st RIPA recommendations. The annual report, this annual report, is the PAC's one shot to present those recommendations to the City Council. But this draft annual report completely obscures and mischaracterizes the purpose, elements, operation, and evidentiary bases of the PAC's RIPA recommendations. In its current form, the report deprives the City Council of the information it needs to understand and consider your recommendations, most of which were passed unanimously. All of you should have received MV Free's proposed revisions to the May 21 section of the draft annual report. These clear and accurate revisions are essential to support an informed consideration of your recommendations by the City Council. Please do not approve this annual report without those revisions.
Thank you.
Hello again, Ed Rusky for MV Free. To illustrate what Tammy's talking about, I'd like to focus on just two of the more serious flaws in the draft annual report. Each deprives the City Council of information that is crucial and critical to its understanding and assessment of the PAC's May 21 RIPA recommendations. First, in order to evaluate the PAC's recommendations, the City Council must, of course, have a clear understanding of why the recommendations are being proposed. But in the draft annual report, it never identifies or discusses the problem that PAC's recommendations are meant to address, namely the substantial over-policing of Black and Latinx people reflected in the San Rafael RIPA data. Again, the most objective window into law enforcement's activities. Nor does it mention the compelling statistical evidence that links those racial disparities to specific San Rafael police practices. Second, the City Council needs to understand how the recommendations would operate and why the PAC believes they will advance city values and objectives. But the draft annual report presents the 4 RIPA recommendations in a shorthand form that omits key elements and provides no explanations or definitions. This makes it impossible to figure out what the recommendations even mean, much less how they would operate to advance their intended purpose, which, as I just said, are not even told to the City Council. MV Free's proposed revisions to the May 21 section of the draft annual report provide a straightforward, accurate summary of the information that the City Council needs to understand and assess the PAC's recommendations. Please adopt those revisions to correct the fatal deficiencies in the draft annual report. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I'll be focusing on one additional problem with the draft annual report that's particularly egregious. The draft report claims, both in the May 21st text and in the police addendum, that 3 of the PAC's 4 RIPA recommendations have already been or are being implemented. That claim is false and appears designed to dissuade the council from considering the recommendations. The PAC's first recommendation calls for a bias by proxy policy modeled on RIPA recommendations, together with officer training and public education to eliminate race-based calls for service. According to the draft report, the department satisfied this recommendation by adding 1 sentence to its policies. Members of the San Rafael Police Department should use their critical decision-making skills, drawing on their training to assess whether there is criminal conduct requiring a police response. But this ambiguous sentence bears no resemblance to the detailed safeguards in the RIPA model policy that the PAC recommended. It does not address the training or public education aspects of the PAC's recommendation and has never been discussed or approved by the PAC. It was approved by the secret working committee. That was member Davidi,
I'm sorry,
Kamina.
can I stop you? I think, are you getting translated?
Two people come in Spanish, they need translate.
I want to make sure we add time for her. There's 2 people in the audience that needs translate. I'm sorry to stop you. We'll make sure you get adequate time, Heidi.
Okay.
Okay. Go ahead. Go ahead. Maybe let's wait till they get the equipment. Can we please reset the time? And Heidi, do you feel comfortable starting from the beginning? If you don't mind?
Oh, I'm sure you all would love to hear this again.
I just want to make
Absolutely.
sure they don't miss out.
Be my pleasure.
Uh, Okay, let's give. Bueno?
Let me know when.
We're good. Okay, we got thumbs up. Please, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. I want to focus on one additional problem with the draft annual report that is particularly egregious. The draft report claims, both in the May 21st text and in the police addendum, that 3 of the PAC's 4 RIPA recommendations have already been or being implemented. This claim is false and appears designed to dissuade the council from considering recommendations. The PAC's first recommendation calls for a bias by proxy policy modeled on RIPA recommendations, together with officer training and public education to eliminate race-based calls for service. According to the draft report, the department satisfied this recommendation by adding 1 sentence to its policies. Members of the San Rafael Police Department should use their critical decision-making skills, drawing on their training to assess whether there is criminal conduct requiring a police response. I think we can hear how ridiculous that is. But this ambiguous sentence bears no resemblance to the detailed safeguards in the RIPA model policy that the PAC recommended. It does not address training or public education and has never been discussed or approved by the PAC. It was discussed and approved in the secret working group that was not subject to the Brown Act or CPRA that included member Tokolai, Davidi, and Kamina. The PAC's 3rd and 4th recommendations call for ongoing analysis of RIPA data. First, to measure and monitor the effectiveness of equitable policing strategies, and second, to build on strategic goals through an annual RIPA equity assessment. According to the draft report, both of these recommendations will be wholly satisfied by the department's plan to add a RIPA dashboard to its website. But RIPA dashboards only reflect selected data curated by law enforcement. They do not include the full RIPA data sets and do not calculate the report or address racial or other policing disparities, the crux of both PAC recommendations.
Thank you.
Chair,
Yes?
if we can just ask the public speakers to slow down a bit, our translators are having a hard time keeping up.
Thank you.
To summarize, the draft annual report in its current form defeats the purpose of an annual report and the PAC itself. The PAC's most meaningful power and duty is to present policing recommendations to the City Council. Racial and equitable policing is at the heart of why the PAC was created following the beating of Julio Lopez. Your RIPA recommendations are an important first step in addressing this grave top priority issue. The community is counting on members of the PAC to make sure your RIPA recommendations are fully and accurately presented to the City Council in the annual report. MV Free has made this easy for you. Do not approve the draft annual report in its current form. Please make a motion and vote as follows. I move to replace the May 21 section of the draft annual report on pages 10 and 11 with the revised draft provided by MV Free. Thank you.
I won't repeat what all others said. They said it perfectly, and I respect and appreciate your words. This previous speaker did say that RIPA does not tell the whole story, and it doesn't. Does not tell the whole story. But it's a start. It's something, and I appreciate Member Fatai being transparent. Thank you. I mean that wholeheartedly. That you don't want to view RIPA, and I hope the rest of you don't feel that way. Imagine being that's how I took your words. I'm not speaking for you, that's the way how I took it. Imagine having a council here and not wanting to review RIPA and not wanting to review pretext stops. That's wild. That is, and I respect you for you coming here every month, putting in the time. It's a commitment. It's a lot. It's not easy. I've been on a board. Remember one thing, people don't come here to tell you how great you are. They come here to say, do better with A, B, C, and D. So don't take things personal. But as I said, imagine having a board in front of us and not wanting to review RIPA and not wanting to review pretext stops. Again, that's wild. So as you're transparent in your words and your beliefs, and I appreciate it, I hope the rest of you don't feel that way. I can imagine being on this membership here, council, and saying, I don't want to see RIPA and don't bring me pretext stops. And what in the hell are you here for?
Thank you, sir. Sir, let's respect the process.
Slow down, because speaking, I want to say one last thing.
let's-
One last thing. I appreciate you. One
Wrap
last
up,
thing
please.
is 5 seconds. People drive by here, rich white folk. We don't get pulled over for no front license plate. I'm ending with this. You can best believe in the canal, they are.
Thank you.
No front license.
I will close public comment. I will ask staff to respond to questions from the community. Do we need to wait for Lieutenant Eberly to come back, or were you guys are good?
We smelled smoke on this side of the room, so that's what Lieutenant Everly went to check out. So, but he should be back shortly. In terms of the questions regarding the annual report and the RIPA information, so much like the annual report that was presented last year, we listed the recommendations, whether they be by motion or by comment for each item. There are hyperlinks in the report that take you to the meeting in which those discussions occurred so that people can get the full administrative record of the item. So they'll have access to the staff report, the meeting minutes, any comments pertaining to that item, as well as the video. So I appreciate the comments about having the full context of the conversation. But again, the annual report, as was the one last year, is just a digest of the recommendations that occurred with the links to the, again, to the full administrative record for that particular meeting. In terms of the bias by proxy policy, I would just direct the public or the members of the committee. There is a hyperlink in the report to the bias by proxy policy that was adopted by SRPD. So you can see the content of the policy, and so you can see for yourself the provisions that the department put forward to ensure that responses are done lawfully and that we're not policing in a manner that's inconsistent with our values. So I'll defer to Chief Spiller if he has anything else to say about the bias by proxy policy, but I just wanted to note those two items about the report.
Thank you, Assistant City Manager Robinson Pignon. I think you've covered it perfectly. I have nothing to add unless any members of the committee have a question.
Question? Okay. Member on.
Are we okay with fire?
There's a small barbecue going on outside, but it's all good.
Party outside.
If they have tofu, I'm in.
Thank you for clarifying that if I'm hearing you correctly, there will be hyperlinks to our meeting materials. With respect to that, Mill Valley Free provided a presentation and a packet material. Is that included? Will that be hyperlinked on the May 21st?
That is. So if you, I mean, it's hard to denote from a printed copy, but you'll see the items that are in blue, those are hyperlinks, and it will take you to all of the meeting materials. So whether it be the staff reports, the minutes, the agenda, any comments that were submitted on that particular meeting. So the full administrative record for that meeting is accessible through that hyperlink. And again, what you see in the annual report for each item, not just for RIPA, is a digest of the comments that were received from the members on that particular topic, any motions or actions that were taken by the commission. It's not meant to be a full retelling of the meeting itself, because that's why we have the hyperlink, so that if people are interested, they can get the full background and the full context. This is just a digest of what occurred at an individual meeting, whether it's about military equipment, like we didn't go into the details about rifles or things of that sort, because the idea is that someone can see the full administrative record by clicking on those links. And we can, if it would be helpful, we can say in the report that links to each meeting are provided in the report, if that would help clarify for readers, but that is embedded in the report.
Question to the staff chair. In the communication that MV Free sent us, is this essentially their presentation that we received?
So so I guess to clarify, so MV Free sent comments for tonight's meeting on this annual report,
vision,
as well as previous meetings. And so those are all a part of the minutes. So for every meeting, if from whomever sends comments, those become a part of the meeting record. And so those are accessible as part of the meeting record for that individual meeting.
So clarify for me, since this is now 2026, is this part of 2026 annual report then, their comments, or will it be included in the annual report as a continuation of their comments?
It's not a part of the annual report. So the annual report itself, this document, is again what you see here, but the comments that they've provided will be available on the website as a part of the administrative record for this meeting. They're not going to be attached to this, but if somebody wants to get the full context of what occurred in the meeting, if they want to watch the video, they want to see the agenda, when the minutes are posted, they want to see the minutes, they want to read all of the information and background and context, all of that is on the city website.
Good. Okay. I would like to ask comments from the members of the committee on this matter. Member would you like to have a few more minutes to express your comments, or you feel in a good place?
Can I defer my comment?
Sure.
To the end?
Absolutely.
I want to hear what other members have to say.
Yes. Member Kamina?
I have no comments.
Member Nguyen? Member Rodas?
I think if somebody's gonna make a motion, or if we're gonna have to vote on this, I'm gonna have to abstain. I wasn't here during that meeting. I haven't even had the chance to look at the revision. So if it comes to a vote, I'd have to abstain from it.
I respect your decision. Member Tukolahi?
Again, I'm gonna stand on what it's been written so far. I also want to come back, since they wanted to, sorry to bring this up, since they wanted to change some of the language, maybe we should change the language on the committee or on the working group. It wasn't secret. Everyone knows about it. So I'm just gonna throw it out there too.
Thank you. Vice Chair Ruiz?
No comments.
Member Locks? Alternate Member Locks? I'm still in ESL here.
Chair, pardon the interruption. We've lost video feed.
Okay, do we pause? Okay.
I think that's your pretty face.
Well, as long as they can hear me, I think that's okay. If they can hear,
Yeah, I'm gonna try.
We are back live. Okay, hallelujah. Okay, this third time is the charm here, hopefully. Alternate member locks. Please talk before the system crashes again.
Okay. I did say at the very beginning of my comment, or, staff report, that I felt that there was, as a researcher, we call threats to the validity of the report. Internal threats are those, the documentation and the way that you're presenting the information or how you gather your analysis. That's the internal. The external is how you're presenting it to the public or to the reader. And most particularly, I feel that the information that's being presented to the reader has the most threat as far as validity. That is why I think that MV Free has persisted in giving updates, suggestions for what her content was about and what we, as a full committee, voted on unanimously after having vigorous dialogue. As we were talking earlier about the work plan, where RIPA is not there, and has been said by the members of the community. Clearly, in our recommendation, there is RIPA. So if we voted to have that RIPA information, that should be part of our work plan, even if, well, someone did say RIPA, as we understand, did say that as one of their 5 recommendations, priorities. And so I would like for this report for us to take in this additional information. I like the suggested motion from the committee, from the community. It's just not right to send it forward. If you were sending this report forward to the city council members, of which I know each of them very well, they're going to summarize just like we summarize. They're not going to do the hyperlinks. They're not going to see all of this quality information that needs to be seen. The RIPA report in this annual report is what? One and a quarter page. However, the committee report is 2.5 pages. Right there, there's an inequity. Right there. Period. Stop. The report is not, in my experience, is a poor example of professionalism and needs to be revised again before it is submitted to the city council.
Thank you. Member Alm, did you want to chime in? Oh, sorry, alternate Valdez, sorry, skipped.
I think everyone commented it, but my only comment is about the version in Spanish. There is some like grammar that we need to correct. And I will I don't know if Teresa is okay if I can email you. Yeah, I need to finish reading everything, but I will email you the corrections. Thank you.
Thank you for speaking up on that. Appreciate it. Member Alm.
Chair, I'm going to echo Member Locke's comments. There is an inequity, and I will be on the record. I'm actually neutral to what the subcommittee produced. I would like more information to have more perspective. With that said, as presented in the report, I feel it has a lot of real estate. I do appreciate why it was giving that because the work group needed it was its opportunity for transparency. I do feel that there was a lot of pertinent imperative information that MV Free provided, and without that there is no context on why we made the recommendations and voted for what we did. I would echo what the community member said, and I would like to see MV Free's revision as an addition to the report. I'd be happy to entertain that as an appendix to the report too.
Thank you. I don't have any more comments. I will now ask for a motion to accept the annual report. Anybody wants to make a
Oh.
motion?
I'll motion to accept the report.
I will ask for a second. Second, I would like to ask staff for a roll call.
No.
Aye.
Oh, sorry. My apologies. My apologies. I'll start the roll again because my microphone, I had not pushed it on. Member Alm,
My vote is no.
Member Kamina,
Aye.
Member Nguyen, Member Rodas.
Can I abstain?
I'm saying, sorry. Registered that earlier. Member Tokalahi
Aye.
and Vice Chair Ruiz
Aye.
and Chair DeViti.
Aye.
The motion carries.
Do we need to break for toggle? We had a lot of break already. We're good. Let's keep rolling. The next topic is alternate date for February meeting. The staff will introduce the item. Ms. Angela and Teresa, please report.
I'll hand it off to Ms. Komoda for the report.
Good evening. If you all recall, at our January 10th meeting, we attempted to adopt our 2026 meeting schedule. It was brought to staff's attention at that time. There were additional religious holidays that would need to be observed during the week of the proposed February 18th meeting date. Staff has brought back an alternative date of February 25th for the committee to review. And if that is amenable to the committee, then we can accept that as a new date, and that would be the February meeting date of February 25th.
February 25th?
Correct. It's in the staff report. It's the following Wednesday.
Okay. I will ask if there are any questions from the committee in this order on the change of the dates. Member Alm?
No questions?
Member Kamina? Member Nguyen? Member Rodas?
No questions.
Member Tokolahi?
No question.
Vice Chair Ruiz?
No question.
Alternate Member Locks? No questions. Alternate Member Valdez?
No questions.
And I have no question. I will invite public comment on the change of the date. It's the 20.
Hi, I'm sorry this is going to be off topic, but I just want to note that in the Saturday first meeting of the year, Committee Member Alm did specifically mention RIPA data as his number 2 priority for the work plan. So for all of you that was in question that he didn't say that, he very much did. It's at 2 hours, 12 minutes, and 17 seconds on the Zoom video.
Okay, I want to go. I am going to close public comment. I will ask staff to respond to any questions from the community.
Staff has no response about the agenda topic, which we're working on right now, which is the date.
Okay, bueno. Thank you. I will ask comments from the committee member in this order. Member Alm,
No comments?
Member Kamina.
New date is fine with me.
Thank you. Member Nguyen,
No comment.
Member Rodas.
That date's fine with me.
Thank you. Member Tokolahi,
No comments.
Vice Chair Ruiz.
It's okay for me.
Let's go to alternate member Locks,
No comment.
alternate member Valdez.
That day works for me.
Okay, that day works for me. I'm glad we're all in sync. I will ask for a motion to accept the alternate date.
Chair, I'll make a motion to accept the alternate date of February 25th.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Second, member Tokolahi. Staff, can you do a roll call, please?
Yes, Member Alm,
Aye.
Member Kamina,
Aye.
Member Nguyen,
Aye.
Member Rodas,
Aye.
Member Tokalahi,
Aye. Aye.
Vice Chair Ruiz.
Yes.
And Chair DeViti.
Aye.
And the motion passes.
Motion passes. I wish everyone a good night. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the investment. Please do your homework. Please get involved out there and come prepared.